IRS Audit.
Hi, welcome back. In this session, I want to explain a little bit more about the IRS audit and how it works from on a correspondence level. And I have some examples here. I can also share stories about going into their office or actually representing the taxpayer at their kennel or their home, whatever, so the IRS could look at what they were deducting. But here, like I said in the first session, it normally starts with a letter in the mail. You have to open the letter, you have to call them back, you have to schedule some time. It's all very set up, non-judgmental, and if you just follow the directions. But I would recommend bringing your CPA or attorney or EA agent into the picture as soon as possible and get a power of attorney so they can talk and you don't have to worry about getting back and forth. A lot of it's just procedural. So in this example, this is the first letter is going to be a welcome letter, you might say. We're contacting you because. So in this form here, I'm showing an example of a letter that the taxpayer received telling them basically that they didn't win the lottery, but they're being selected for an examination. And it says here, we're contacting you for an examination of the tax period shown above. This is very important because it shows what year or years they want to look at. And sometimes it's more, the scope is more narrow because of these two things. But in this case, the IRS just wants to look at the whole tax return, but they are giving you a hint down here where it says, we really want to know about Schedule C and other income, legal and professional, and maybe Schedule E. So right away, I know these are the three areas that we have to pull together the records and get ready to roll with their questions. Other income, Schedule C, of the Schedule C, maybe one or two line items and their passive activity, which could be K1s and rentals. What we're going to do during the examination, we'll conduct an interview with the documents. You have rights. If you want to have someone represent you, they're telling you to get Form 2848, power of attorney. What comes with this welcome letter, examination letter, is an IDR, information document request. And in this, they always number their IDRs in the sequence. So this is the first request, and they want to get the following. They want the 1040. They want to get all the bank accounts for the years going from one year to a different year. They want to get the W-3s, general ledger. They want to know this person had a big deduction for legal services, canceled checks, K1s, other income. This person had a loss, which is probably the trigger. And so let's schedule a date and time for our phone interview. Information will be requested at a later date. So this is just get your documents ready, have it organized, maybe have a lead sheet referencing their number one, their number two. It makes it easier for the auditor. It brings it up to a professional level where they're not having to struggle and get frustrated on what you're giving them, and then you can proceed. In the next segment, we're going to go into a little bit more of what they're asking for. Thank you. I am back. We're talking about an IRS examination, also known as an audit, and I just want to continue showing the audit process. When you're already into a correspondence audit, the auditor is going to send out information document requests. They're known as IDRs. We had one I already went over, but we're going to go back we're already up to number 9. So there's a lot been going on. Maybe 6 months have gone by and she's coming back wanting more and more and more. So one thing they always want is a deposit analysis. I'm going to explain what that is. I'm just going to show you, generally they want to know why this and how did that happen? What is this for? What is that for? And it goes on referencing some previous requests. So these IDRs will continue until there is nothing left to give them, and they have to work with what you've given them or explain it, often by written narrative. One of the things that they always, and at the end is, the end of the whole process is called a 459, report of the changes. And sometimes it says no change. Sometimes here they're adding things back, and then they're subtracting, and there's some adjustments. This was a big change, and then we ended up getting it back down to less than 100,000. But the 459, if you don't sign off on it, it's just going to go into a collection. If you go back and ask the auditor to reconsider certain items, often you can bring it down. But this form is the end of the line for this examination. And one of the key things they're going to go after is your bank accounts. They want to know of all the deposits and all the withdrawals, what were they for? And here's an example of another client. We wanted to show the different deposits that went into a couple of accounts, where they went out, what for, and what's non-taxable. And so the cash is the trace that they're going to use all the time, whether it goes to bank or bank to another entity, or you buy cryptocurrency, or money comes in from Aunt Eleanor or something. You're going to have to show where this money's coming from and where it went. So I suggest, if you do get an examination request, retain your tax preparer or CPA to represent you. Often it could be done in about 4 to 12 hours back and forth. And I think if you handle it correctly and you have all your documentation, it will go away and you should be fine. All right, thanks for listening.